The next time you buy things from the market, take a look at where those things were manufactured. How do things manufactured in different parts of our country and even in other countries reach a shop in your neighborhood from where you can buy them? All things that you find at your local shop reach there from their manufacturing site by some means of transport. The manufacturing industry is a supply location. Your local shop is a demand location. Goods are transported from supply to demand locations by people called traders. The economic development of a country depends not only on the production of goods and services, but also their distribution. Thus, transport is a key factor that influences India's rapid economic development. Modern transport uses all available channels like land, water, and air. Based on the medium it uses, the means of transport can be divided into land transport, water transport, and air transport. Land transport includes roadways and railways, besides pipelines that are used to transport liquid and gaseous material over long distances. Water transport can be further classified as inland transport and overseas transport. Inland transport happens along our coastline between two domestic ports or through inland waterways. Overseas transport involves sending goods from one country to another. Air transport can also be classified as domestic and international. Private and government-run domestic airways connect different cities of India. International airways connect India with destinations in all parts of the world. The development of transport in the world was a gradual process. Early sailors thought that the earth was flat, and that if they went too far into the sea, they would fall off it. Modern advances in science and technology have not left any part of the world inaccessible. Thus, the world appears a much smaller place today. Transport alone has not boosted trade and made the world a smaller place. Trade also requires some means of exchanging ideas and connecting with people. Traveling is not the most time and cost-effective method to do so. This is where communication comes in. While transport physically transfers people and goods from one place to another, means of communication allow people in different locations to connect with each other without actually traveling. Today, India is very well connected with all parts of the world through communication channels like radio, television, cinema, newspapers, the internet, fax, and phone services. India is a vast country with many different geographical terrains, cultures, languages, religions, and traditions. Communication channels connect us all to each other, as well as to different societies and cultures around the globe. This truly makes the world a global village. Transport and communication together play a very important role in the economic development of India and in making our lives more comfortable. A dense, efficient network of transport and extensive, reliable means of communication are the true lifelines of trade and economic development for India and the rest of the world. Have you heard about this anecdote? One day, a lost traveller asked an old man sitting by a long stretch of road, "Where does this road go?" The old man said, "I have been watching it for the last 80 years. The road is still where it was. It doesn't go anywhere." It is true, a road stays where it is, but it can take you to faraway places. The road network in India is amongst the most widespread in the world. At present, the length of all the roads in India adds up to around 2.3 million kilometers. Some of us love to travel by road, while some by train. However, roadways have some practical advantages over railways. Let us take a look at them. A road is comparatively easier to construct at a lower cost than a railway line of the same length. As compared to railways, roads are easier to lay on undulating land and steep slopes, like in a mountainous region. If you have to travel to a wedding in your city with your family, would you hire a taxi or a train? Road transport is cheaper than railways for transporting a small number of people or goods over short distances. Trains travel only between fixed stations. A road can take you from your doorstep to your exact destination. This door-to-door connectivity is especially important for goods transport, as it saves time and money. Road transport provides direct feeder links to other places of goods transport, like seaports, airports, and railway stations. If you take a road trip in India, you will find roads in vastly different conditions. From all-weather metalled roads made of concrete, cement or coal tar, to unpaved, unmetalled roads that go out of use in the rainy season. Based on their capacity to sustain traffic, roads in India are classified into the following 6 types. The Golden Quadrilateral Superhighways, National Highways, State Highways, District Roads, Border Roads and other roads. Let us now know more about each of them. the Government of India has started a mega road building project called the Golden Quadrilateral to reduce travelling time between the major cities of India. Under this project, the National Highways Authority of India (NHAI) will construct 6-lane superhighway connecting Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai and Kolkata. These roads will form 4 sides of a quadrilateral, and hence the name the Golden Quadrilateral. This project also includes an east-west corridor, which will connect Silchar in Assam to Porbandar in Gujarat. Also part of the superhighway project is a north-south corridor connecting Srinagar in Jammu and Kashmir to Kanyakumari in Tamil Nadu. India has a vast network of national highways that are constructed and maintained by the Central Public Works Department or CPWD. Many of these national highways run in the east-west and north-south directions. In India, every national highway is given a unique number. For example, National Highway number 8 connects Delhi to Mumbai. National Highway number 24 connects Delhi to Lucknow. Sher Shah Suri Marg, which connects Delhi to Amritsar, is called National Highway number 1. If you go to Rajasthan, for most of the destinations, you will use National Highway number 15. Within a state, the roads linking the state capital with different district headquarters are called state highways. State highways are constructed and maintained by the Public Works Department or PWD of the state concerned. The roads connecting a district headquarter to other destinations in the district are called district roads. These roads are constructed and maintained by the Zilla Parishad concerned. The roads that run close to India's international border in the north and northeastern parts of the country are called border roads. The construction of these roads has linked remote areas with the Indian mainland and contributed to their economic development. Border roads are constructed and maintained by the Border Roads Organization that was set up in 1960. BRO has constructed roads of strategic importance to India in some of the most inhospitable conditions. Other roads are mostly rural roads that connect villages with nearby towns. The Government of India has launched a special program called the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana to develop such rural roads and connect each village to a town by a motorable road. The length of roads per 100 square kilometers of area is called road density. The road density in India varies from one state to another. Jammu and Kashmir has the lowest road density at 10.4 kilometers, while Uttar Pradesh has the highest at 532.27 kilometers. The average road density of Indian states is 125.02 kilometers. Indian roadways are facing many challenges. Let us learn about some of them. The roads and national highways in India are not enough to accommodate the large volume of road traffic. This leads to frequent traffic jams. Around 50% of the roads in India are unmetalled. These roads become difficult or impossible to use during the monsoons. Roads and bridges in most Indian cities are quite narrow. Even stretches of national highways passing through cities are reduced to two-lane roads. This leads to traffic congestion. If you go to a railway platform, you will find all kinds of people there. From families going on holidays to businessmen traveling on a business trip to groups going on pilgrimage and tons of goods to be transported over long distances. In India, railways are the primary mode of transport for passengers and goods. The beginning of railways in India goes back to 1853, when the first train service began from Boribandar, now known as Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus in Mumbai, to Thane, 60 kilometers away. Since then, Indian railways have made tremendous progress, connecting destinations all over India. This development of railways has not only helped in uniting India, but also promoted the growth of agriculture and economy. The Indian railway network is spread over 64,460 route kilometers, connecting 7,133 railway stations all over the country, divided into 16 railway zones. The vast Indian Railways network is serviced by 9,213 locomotives, 53,220 coaches and 2,29,381 wagons. With the railways planning to expand, this number will only go up in future. The distance between the two rails forming a railway track determines the gauge of the railway line. Indian railways operate on narrow gauge, meter gauge and broad gauge lines. Broad gauge forms the biggest part of the Indian railway network. The Indian Railways have undertaken a program called Project Unigauge to convert all meter gauge and narrow gauge railway lines into broad gauge lines. However, hilly terrain can be negotiated easily with narrow gauge lines. If you observe the map of the Indian railway network, you will see it is not uniform all over the country. The vast level lands of the northern plains with the huge population and resources were the most favorable areas for the expansion of railways. Still, the wide rivers flowing through the region called for the construction of a large number of bridges. In the hilly peninsular region, railway lines were laid through hills, valleys and tunnels. The lofty mountains in the Himalayan region, with lesser population and economic opportunities, are not favorable for the construction of railways. the sandy deserts of Rajasthan, the swamps of Gujarat, and the heavily forested regions of Madhya Pradesh, Orissa, Chhattisgarh, and Jharkhand are some of the challenges railways have overcome for expansion in these regions. The western coastal strip of India is separated from the peninsula by the Sahyadri range of mountains, also called the Western Ghats. Constructing the Konkan Railway through the Western Ghats was a serious challenge, as these mountains can only be crossed through natural gaps called ghats. The Konkan Railway has been a great advantage for the movement of passengers and goods in the Western Ghats area. However, this railway route is prone to landslides and sinking of railway lines. Considering the volume of passengers and goods transported, Indian Railways is more important to India's economy than all other means of transport. However, our railways are also facing certain challenges. Let us take a look at some of them. Many passengers travel on trains without a proper ticket. This leads to a huge revenue loss to the railways and affects its further expansion. Besides, it is illegal. Every railway coach has emergency stop chains for the safety of passengers. However, people misuse this safety feature to stop the train as per their convenience. This again results in a disruption of train schedules and revenue loss to the railways. People disrupt railway traffic and damage railway property in the name of demonstrations. We must realize that this is ultimately our own loss. We must safeguard railway property like our own possessions. Now let us talk about another means of transport that is relatively new in India. Pipelines. We know pipelines as networks of pipes that bring water into our house and take wastes away. However, now pipelines are being used to transport several industrial materials. Today, pipelines, hundreds of kilometers long, are being used to transport petroleum, natural gas, and even coal slurry from mining areas to industries and ports. There are three important gas and oil pipeline networks in India. An oil pipeline runs from the oil fields in Digboi in Assam to Kanpur in Uttar Pradesh via Guwahati, Barauni, and Allahabad. The main branches of this oil pipeline are Guwahati to Siliguri, Barauni to Haldia via Rajband, and Rajband to Maurigram. Another oil pipeline runs from oil fields in Salaya in Gujarat to Jalandhar in Punjab. This oil pipeline passes through Viramgam, Mathura, Delhi, and Sonipat. It has several branches leading to Koyali and Chakshu, etc. A natural gas pipeline runs from the Hazira gas fields in Gujarat to Jagdishpur in Uttar Pradesh, while passing through Vijaypur in Madhya Pradesh. Its branches supply gas to Kota in Rajasthan and several places like Barbala and Shahjahanpur in Uttar Pradesh. Pipelines are difficult and expensive to construct. But once constructed, they require very little maintenance and save a lot of money by eliminating transport losses and delays. It has been practiced in India since ancient times. Indian traders and sailors sailed to far-off lands, taking with them unique products and glimpses of India's rich cultural heritage. Transport by waterways is the most fuel-efficient, cost-effective and environment-friendly way to carry heavy goods from one place to another. Water transport does not happen only through open seas. Large rivers and backwaters provide around 14,500 kilometers of inland waterways in India. However, only 3,700 kilometers of these are accessible to mechanized boats. Inland waterways in India are provided by the rivers Ganga, Brahmaputra, Godavari, Krishna, Brahmani, Barak, canals like the East-West Canal, West Coast Canal, Buckingham Canal, Damodar Valley Corporation Canal and the Sundarbans area. Some inland waterways in India have been declared national waterways. National Waterway number 1 on the Ganga connects Allahabad in Uttar Pradesh to Haldia in West Bengal. The total distance covered by National Waterway number 1 is 1,620 kilometers. National Waterway number 2 on the Brahmaputra connects Sadia in Arunachal Pradesh to Dhupri in Assam. The total distance covered by National Waterway number 2 is 891 kilometers. National Waterway number 3 on the West Coast Canal in Kerala connects Kottapurma in the north to Ashtamudi Kayal in the south, covering a total distance of 205 kilometers. Inland waterways facilitate the movement of goods, but the major international trade from India is carried out from its ports that allow docking facilities for large vessels. India has a long coastline of around 7,516 kilometers. Along this coastline lie 12 major and 187 medium and small ports. Around 95% of India's international trade is carried out from these 12 major ports, marked on the map. Let us visit these ports briefly, starting from the west in the Gulf of Kutch. The first port on our western coastline is the Kandla port in the Gulf of Kutch. The Kandla port was the first to be developed after independence to decongest the Mumbai port, as the port at Karachi went to Pakistan after the partition. The Kandla port is a tidal port that handles exports and imports for the fertile plains and industrial belts spread over Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan and Gujarat. Moving south, we reach the natural, well-sheltered harbour of the Mumbai port, the largest port in India. Another major port, called the Jawaharlal Nehru Port at Navi Mumbai, was constructed to decongest traffic at the old Mumbai port. Further south from Mumbai, we come to the Mormugaon port in Goa. This port handles around 50% of the total iron ore exports from India. Our next stop along the west coast will be the new Mangalore port in Karnataka. Excellent quality iron ore from the Kudremukh mines is majorly exported through the new Mangalore port. Our last stop on the southwest coast will be the Kochi port. Kochi port has a natural harbour situated at the entrance of a lagoon. As we go around Cape Comorin and start moving along the east coast, the first port we come across will be the Tuticorin port in Tamil Nadu. This port has a natural harbour and handles cargo bound for India as well as our neighbouring countries like Sri Lanka and the Maldives. Moving further north, we reach the Chennai port. The Chennai port is one of the oldest artificial ports in India and second only to Mumbai in terms of volume of trade and cargo handled. Further northeast from Chennai, we come to the Visakhapatnam port. This port was originally built for the export of iron ore and has the distinction of being the country's deepest, most protected landlocked port. Next, further up the east coast is the Paradeep port in Orissa, that is, the main centre for the export of iron ore. Next is the Haldia port, which is developed to decongest the Kolkata port. Our final destination on the east coast is the tidal port of Kolkata. The Kolkata port has a rich Ganga-Brahmaputra hinterland from where goods come for shipping. The Kolkata port is an inland port services by the river Hooghly. Dredging has to be carried out continuously to prevent silting and keep the port entry clear. From the surface of the ocean, let us raise our eyes skywards. Air travel is the quickest and one of the most comfortable means of transport. The main advantage of using airways is that an airplane can easily cross all kinds of terrain, from mountains, deserts, rainforests and wetlands to oceans. Nationalized air transport in India began in 1953 with the launch of Air India and Indian Airlines. Air India operates international flights from India. Indian Airlines and its fully owned subsidiary Alliance Air operate domestic flights in India. Indian Airlines operates international flights to some countries in Southeast Asia, South Asia and the Middle East. These days, a lot of private airlines operate domestic flights in India. Some of the private operators, like Jet and Kingfisher, also have international flights. Helicopter is another means of air travel that does not require long runways to take off or land, unlike airplanes. This form of air transport is especially useful in the northeastern parts of India, where densely forested mountains crisscrossed by rivers make it difficult to construct roads and railways. Pawan Hans Helicopter Company Limited provides helicopter services to government enterprises like ONGC and passenger services in difficult to access areas of the northeastern states. Jammu and Kashmir, Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh. Air travel is still very expensive in India and out of the reach of a large part of the population. Special arrangements have been made in the northeastern states to make air travel services available to the common people. From the earliest times, human beings have felt the need to communicate with each other. From abstract symbols to modern alphabets of hundreds of languages around the world, communication has been an integral part of the development of human society. The latest advances in communication are about enabling communication over long distances without the need for the change in location of the sender or receiver. Communication can be personal, where just two or a small group of people communicate with each other. Therefore, personal letters, emails, and phone calls are examples of interpersonal communication. In each of these cases, the person or persons with whom you are communicating are known to you. Their response is immediate. On the other hand, mass communication is communication to an indefinite number of people spread over a large geographical area. These people are usually unknown to the sender, and therefore a response may not be required. Radio, television, cinema, newspapers and magazines, and nowadays the Internet, are used to communicate news and ideas to a large number of people at the same time. These are examples of mass communication. Let us take a look at some of the main means of communication used in India. Starting with our postal service. India's postal service is the largest of its kind in the world. The service is provided by the Department of Posts of the Government of India. The Indian Postal Service handles both letters and parcels. Postcards and envelopes are classified as first-class mail, which is delivered on priority using both air and land transport. Packets of books and registered newspapers and periodicals are classified as second-class mail and are delivered using surface transport like roadways, railways and ships. A post box that you drop your letters into is usually red. However, now you will find post boxes of different colors outside a post office. These colors represent the different main channels introduced by the Indian Post Service for quicker delivery of letters in large towns and cities. Besides its regular national and international services, the Indian Postal Service has introduced 6 channels called the Rajdhani Channel, Metro Channel, Green Channel, Business Channel, Bulk Mail Channel and Periodical Channel. Now let us move on to telecommunication in India. The mobile connection in India is the largest in Asia.
with about 548.32 million mobile connections spread all over the country.
All the urban centres and over two-thirds of Indian villages are now connected with subscriber trunk dialing, or STD facility. The Government of India has made provisions for 24-hour STD facility in every village of India. This aims to provide free flow of information from the most rural to highly urbanized parts of India. Today, you make an STD call at a uniform rate from anywhere in India. This is possible due to the integration of our space and communication technology development programs. Now let us look at the means of mass communication in India: radio, television, cinema, books, newspapers, magazines and the Internet serve the dual purpose of providing entertainment and information to the masses. The national Indian radio broadcaster is Akashvani or All India Radio. Akashvani has several regional relay centres that broadcast a variety of programs in regional languages all over India. The national Indian television broadcaster Doordarshan is one of the largest networks of its kind in the world. Doordarshan broadcasts a variety of entertainment, news and information, sports and educational programs for all age groups. Periodicals are publications like newspapers and magazines that are published at regular intervals, from daily to weekly to monthly to yearly. A large number of newspapers and magazines are published in India. India is a land of many different languages. Daily newspapers in India are published in more than 100 languages and local dialects. Hindi has the largest share of newspaper publication, followed by English and Urdu. The Indian film industry provides entertainment to audiences around the world. We are the largest producers of feature films and also produce short films and video films. When you go to watch a movie, it always starts with the visual of a certificate as shown here. This certificate is awarded by the Central Board of Film Certification, more commonly known as the Censor Board. This board certifies all Indian and foreign films before they can be released in India. When you go to buy something, you get some products in exchange for some money. This exchange of goods between people, companies, states or countries is called trade. The trade within a locality or between cities or villages of a state is called local trade. The trade between two states is called state-level trade. The trade between two countries is called international trade. Resources on the earth are not uniformly distributed. Thus, international trade is a necessity for every country. International trade is the measure of the health of a country's economy. International trade has two components. The goods that are purchased from other countries are called imports. The goods that are sold to other countries are called exports. International trade is not limited to products now. It also includes knowledge and information. India is a leading software producing country today and generates large amounts of foreign exchange through the export of information technology. India is a land of immense natural beauty. From lofty mountains to scenic beaches, to enchanting deserts to thrilling rainforests, we have them all. This makes India an important destination on the international tourism map. Coming of foreign tourists means foreign exchange. Thus, tourism is also an important form of international trade.
The Indian tourism industry employs around 15 million people to take care of around 5.78 million foreign tourists who visit India every year.
Foreign tourists visit India for heritage tourism, ecotourism, adventure tourism, cultural tourism, medical tourism and business tourism. Tourism not only promotes national integration, it also gives tremendous boost to local handicraft industries. At the same time, it helps foreign tourists to understand and appreciate our cultural heritage. The temples of South India and the scenic beauty of Goa, Rajasthan, and Jammu and Kashmir are major attractions for foreign tourists in India. There is immense untapped potential of places of tourism in India, like the Greater Himalayas and northeastern parts of India. Tourism in these places is not encouraged because of strategic reasons related to our country's safety. The difference between the exports and imports of a country is called its balance of trade. When the value of the exports of a country is more than the value of its imports, the country is said to have a favorable balance of trade. When the value of the imports of a country is more than the value of its exports, the country is said to have an unfavorable balance of trade. India has healthy foreign trade relations with countries in all parts of the world. The major products showing a rising trend in exports from India are agriculture and allied products, ores and minerals, gems and jewelry, chemicals and allied products, engineering goods and petroleum products. The main categories of products imported into India are petroleum and petroleum products, pearls and gemstones, inorganic chemicals, coal, coke and briquettes and machinery. There is also a bulk imports group that accounts for around 39% of the total imports by India. This group includes fertilizers, cereals, edible oils and newsprint.